Hi everybody, welcome to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. We are so excited today because we are in Rocky Hill, Connecticut at a place that will blow your mind. Dinosaurs were sitting, I don't know if they were sitting, but they were maybe standing, maybe they were walking right where we are. This is Michael, he's our co-host, at Dinosaur State Park, an amazing space.
Yeah, actually, we have evidence that dinosaurs were walking in this area inside the museum, which I think we're going to see later.
We're going to go in there, right. So they really were. I mean, they probably were everywhere, but you don't really think about Connecticut as a place where dinosaurs walked and that there are tracks to prove it. We're also going to take you to see an unusual fundraiser where people actually are getting tattoos of their pets for animals in need. Really, really interesting. And you know, tattoos are huge now. You don't have any, do you?
No, I don't.
I don't either. But I like them, I like them. And we're also going to see some of my favorite animals, bats. I know people are afraid of them, but I love them. And you know, really, they remind me of dinosaurs. But dinosaurs really don't fly.
Right, exactly. Yeah, those flying creatures, prehistoric creatures, were not actually considered dinosaurs.
Oh, darn. Well, we're going to find out about that. And we want to show you, and that's why we're starting outside on this chilly day, that this is more than just the museum here at Dinosaur State Park, which is fabulous. I can't wait for you to see that. But it's also a wonderful park, and there's so much to do here.
That's right. So in addition to the museum, the exhibit spaces that we have about 60 acres of park and forest outside, and we have 2.5 miles of trails.
Wow.
We actually have a brand new walkway over our wetland area, which so people can go out there and enjoy the scenery and learn a little bit more about wetland and also see some native animals out there too. Every time we go out, we see something really interesting.
Wow. I mean, they're not dinosaurs.
No.
But they might have been a relative of dinosaurs.
Well, we have some reptiles out there and some amphibians that we see a lot of.
You also have areas where people can sort of make their own dinosaur models?
Yeah, so we have a casting area. We have some tracks outside that visitors can come and bring their own plaster and make a cast, which they can then take back. The green tracks lead to our mining sluice outside, which we also have open during the summer. So visitors would purchase a mining bag and they take it over there, and then they use water to search through it, and they can keep the fossils and the minerals that they find in it. We have a lot of picnic areas here too. We have a covered pavilion. We also have an arboretum, so we have a lot of trees that represent plant life that may have existed around the time. So we have fossil evidence that these types of plants existed around 200 million years ago, and their closest relatives are now planted here at Dinosaur State Park as well.
Okay, when we get back, we are going to go indoors, see the wonderful museum. But first, we're going to take you to an amazing fundraiser with tattoos. Tattoos are so big now, especially with people getting tattoos of their animals. And we're also going to meet an amazing tattoo artist. You will not believe what he can create. So stay tuned. We will be right back. You need a dinosaur tattoo. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are at Dinosaur State Park in Rocky Hill, and we are having such a great time. We're actually in the Discovery Room right now. I'm here with Michael, and I didn't realize you don't have any live dinosaurs, but you do have live animals here.
Yeah, so we have two live animals. We have a blue-tongued skink on the top. His name is Blue, and he's kind of in the back there.
He's kind of cute, and his tongue is blue.
That's right. That's hence the name blue-tongued skink.
I never heard of that before.
And we also have a ball python down there. And his name is Hermes, and you can see he's a little bit active today because he's actually hungry. And so today's feeding day, and so we'll be feeding him in a little bit.
Oh, those are beautiful. And this room is really nice, and a lot goes on in here.
So in this room, we have a lot of hands-on activities. We have real fossils that visitors can touch and learn about and make observations on. We have some rocks and minerals. We have many, many drawers that have rocks and minerals and other fossils in them that visitors can explore. This is the hands-on room. We have some craft stuff as well.
Really nice. Now, this is going to sound like a totally different subject, and it is, but this is Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. I have to tell you, we went to an amazing fundraiser with an unbelievable tattoo artist whose creations, especially of animals, are just almost like 3D. So I have to show you this. Take a look. Javier, I'm so excited to be here because you know I am a huge fan of yours also.
Thank you.
You know I follow you on Instagram.
Awesome, I appreciate it.
I'm just blown away with your work. You're a true artist, would you agree? You can brag.
Yeah, I can brag, yes, I am.
So how did you start tattooing?
Actually, I start first painting and drawing. I mean, I've been painting and drawing my whole life. My whole point was to pursue a career as a painter. And my brother insisted that I should be tattooing. And then we started trying on him. And since then, I've been tattooing already.
Wow, you have a nice brother.
Yeah.
He was your human canvas. When I see
My
some of
guinea
your,
pig.
right, your guinea pig, and some of the tattoos that you've done that I've seen are so incredible. They look
Thank
like
you.
paintings. And I noticed many animals.
It's always been a trend. Animals are part of the tattoo world, you know. The more classic side, there were koi fish, dragons, then eagles in the Americana tradition. I started doing tigers and wolves. I do a lot of pets portraits. Some of them for pets that have passed and some of them for pets that are still alive. But yeah, I do a lot of portraits of animals.
And I'm sure you're an animal lover because here you are today donating some of your incredible talent to help Project Precious Rescue.
Definitely. I grew up surrounded by dogs back in Venezuela, and my father had a farm, so we have horses and cows and all of those animals. So we grow up surrounded by animals. At this point, I feel like it's good to give back too, you know. We receive so much from everybody, you know, from the community and from the industry, that it's always good to have the time, you know, to give back.
Christy, now this is all for Project Precious Rescue, and it's a really unique fundraiser.
Yeah, a lot of our supporters had mentioned that they were interested in something like this. We do a lot of polls to find out what kind of fundraisers people want to attend. So we figured that we do something a little bit different, and we got in contact with Javier from Causality here, and he was willing to do this event for us, and we're really, really grateful for that. So looks like we're getting a good turnout, and hopefully we'll have some more people coming up later.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of different tattoos people can choose from, but I noticed a lot of people are choosing animal themed.
We wanted a good variety of animal-related tattoos because we figured most of the people who were coming, that's what they wanted. They designed some really awesome animal tattoos for us.
And of course, we covered your wonderful little yoga puppy fundraiser and event, and that was really, really fun. And
Yeah.
all of those puppies were adopted.
They were. We actually are in the works working on another puppy yoga fundraiser coming up, hopefully in the next couple months, since that one was so successful. But yeah, all the puppies that attended that event were adopted. We had a lot of people come out. We couldn't do this without the people that come to support us. We rely solely on donations. We work really, really hard to get those donations and to keep people's trust and let them know that all of the money that they donate to us is going directly toward the care of our animals. If you follow us on Facebook, you know we take on some of the most difficult cases out there. So we are really, really reliant on our donations in order to do that.
So Keith, you actually have a dog tattoo that Javier did for you.
Correct, yes. This is, he actually did a portrait of my dog Damien here. I actually had him for 15 years, and it was just a portrait in remembrance.
So you kind of feel like your dog is living through you.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. He has his own mantle at our place in Fairfield, pictures, his old collar, his leash. But he goes with me everywhere I go now, so he's a great artist. He's done both of my sleeves. He loves realism, so what better way to go than get an actual portrait in memory of one of your loved ones. You know, they are like family.
I think that one of my biggest blessed in my professional life is that actually getting surprised every time. It's beautiful. Like, I get excited to come and work every day. When I come in the morning, I sit with my client and we start brainstorming. He show me ideas, photos, reference of what he wants, and then I start putting my inputs and doing my own design based on those ideas. So in the whole process, I'm getting excited, you know. And then I get to do it, and at the end of the day, I get to see it, and it's always, you know, very, very satisfying. It's amazing. It's a blessing, you know, having the opportunity to do this as a living, you know, as a career. It's a blessing, you know.
So wasn't that wild?
It was interesting, yeah.
We got to consider it maybe. Tattoos,
Well.
maybe of dinosaurs. We'll be right back with so much more right here on Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. We're back, everybody. Lauren's Crazy Pet Show is at Dinosaur State Park in Rocky Hill, Connecticut. Michael, we're having so much fun. Michael is our wonderful host, and you have a very fancy title here as well.
Environmental Education Coordinator.
That's what he said. Okay.
Yes.
And here, right here in this building, you have tracks, which we're going to see later, and you also have other tracks.
That's right. We have fossils from other locations in Connecticut. So, for example, this slab back here is from Portland, Connecticut. It was found in 1896.
Wow.
It has tracks that are called autozoom, which are more sauropod tracks, so it's four-legged. And what's interesting about these tracks is that you can actually see the texture of the foot It's almost like a skin impression in them as well.
And so you don't know, maybe there's some others that you're detecting as well.
Yes, and so just recently in the last few years, we had some researchers come in, and they've identified some other smaller tracks, only about 1.5 inches or so, with what looks like a tail drag, the tail dragging behind. And so that's actually being looked at, but it could potentially be a primitive mammal.
Well, you know, speaking of mammals, actually outside on your beautiful grounds, you have a bat house. They're mammals too.
Right, so we have a bat house on our Blue Trail. That was installed to help promote habitat for bats to live and develop here. And bats are really important because they help to control the insect population. And right now in the Northeast, there's actually a disease that is affecting bats and killing bats. So that's why we provided a habitat for bats to live.
Ah, I love that. And actually, we just stopped by the Connecticut Beardsley Zoo where we learned all about bats. And they're also kind of cute. Let's take a look. So, Christine, is it true? Are there 1,000 species of bats?
There are over 1,000, probably somewhere closer to between 1,200 and 1,300. New animals are being discovered every day.
So they're all different types, because do they all look the same?
They do not. So this is Luna. She's one of our big brown bats. And in Connecticut, we have 8 different species of bats. And we do have an endangered species, the Indiana bat. But there are bats as small as bumblebee bats found in Indonesia, to flying foxes that have a 6-foot wingspan found in Africa. They are mammals, so they are covered in fur. They give live birth. They feed their babies milk, just like every other mammal we know, but they can fly, unlike every other mammal in the world.
Now, they are extremely important. I think many people might not realize that, because a lot of people are afraid of them. Why do you think that is?
They are. So they're afraid of bats because I think the #1 reason is people are terrified of rabies. They think bats are rabid. The incidence of getting bitten by a rabid bat is so small. You are more likely to get killed by lightning. You're more likely to get killed by a dog, in a car accident, so many things. The incidence of rabies in bats is very low, and their metabolism is so quick that most of them get sick quickly. It runs through their body, and they die before they become a problem to humans. We actually do have vampire bats here at the zoo, and they are pretty amazing. They are from South America. And they will use their teeth to cut a little slit in typically cattle's legs and drink their meal. They have a substance in their saliva called draculin, and that is kind of the connection with Dracula and sucking blood. They don't suck blood, they actually lap blood with their tongues. And if you've ever seen it, it is actually adorable.
And I have to say, Luna is adorable. Tell us about Luna. Now, she's an educational bat.
Yep, she's one of our animal ambassadors. She was injured in the wild, so she can't fly well. She has an injury to her wing, so she would not survive out in the wild. They survive solely on flying to get their food. So they will catch all the insects that they eat on the wing. And they can eat a little brown bat, which is smaller than this, believe it or not, can eat 1,000 insects in an hour.
So that's very important. I mean, that's good for us, because they get rid of those mosquitoes.
Yep, they're great for pest species like mosquitoes. They will also eat some of the other pest species of bugs. Much more efficient than any pesticide you can spray or any bug zapper that you can use. They're going to be able to do it a lot better. They pollinate, they eat figs and poop the seeds out, and then new fig trees can grow. So they really do a host of things that help us all over the planet.
But there's issues now. I mean, we're losing a great number of bats, and that is definitely a problem.
Yeah, in Connecticut especially, the white nose syndrome. It is a fungus that grows on their face, and it essentially prevents them from being able to breathe.
Wow.
So it's a horrible disease, but some anecdotal good news. I do a survey with the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and this last year we saw or heard a lot more bats than we have in previous years. So hopefully they are making a comeback. We go out with a collector of sound frequencies on our car, and it translates that onto a computer so we can see and hear the bats as they're calling for their food. There are 8 species in Connecticut, so we want to see how many are still doing well, how many live in what areas, to collect that data so then it can be used to help bats.
Now, you go around Connecticut and you do educational programs with the Beardsley Zoo. So if people are interested in finding out more, where can they get in touch with you?
They can go onto our website, beardsleyzoo.org, and go under the education tab, and they can find out all about the great programs that we do and our wonderful animal ambassadors, and maybe have Luna come visit their facility.
So bats are cool, don't you think?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I like them. Okay. When we come back, everybody, we're so excited. We're going to actually see the footprints of real dinosaurs right here. I can't wait. Stay tuned, everybody. Lauren's Crazy Pet Show is coming right back. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. We are still on location at one of this is going to be my favorite spot ever, okay? Because 200 million years ago, we are sitting where dinosaurs might have been. They probably weren't sitting, they were probably like moving around. We're in the cherry on the top of our whole show. We are seeing real footprints. Michael is still with us, thank goodness, because he's going to explain how these footprints could be maintained like this.
Well, about 200 million years ago, we know that dinosaurs were in this area because of the footprints that we see there. And then in around 1966, there was an excavator operator, his name was Ed McCarthy, and they were constructing a state laboratory, and he flipped over a slab, and underneath that slab, he saw something that he knew was not normal.
Unbelievable.
And so he stopped his work, he went to his supervisor, and they looked at it and they identified it as a dinosaur track. And so they notified the appropriate authorities, and within a few hours there was researchers and politicians down looking at those tracks. And within a few weeks they stopped work completely and they created a state park.
Because that could have been an apartment building right here if he had not seen that and realized that these were dinosaur tracks. I mean, who would think in Connecticut, of all places, you think out west, but Connecticut was not always in the same spot that Connecticut is at now.
Right, around 200 million years ago, Connecticut was a little bit closer to Puerto Rico, closer to the equator. And the reason that they were preserved here is because this is the only location in Connecticut that has the special type of rock. It's sedimentary rock, and specifically sandstone. And so tracks and fossils are not preserved in igneous rock, which comes from volcanic activity. They're not preserved in metamorphic rock, which comes from basically through heat and pressure the rock has changed. They're only preserved in sedimentary rock.
And it's amazing because it looks like these were just made. How do you know what kind of dinosaur these were from?
Well, we don't know the exact kind of dinosaur. And the reason is because we haven't really found a lot of dinosaur fossils, body fossils, bones in Connecticut. There was one that was discovered a number of years ago, but that does not match these tracks. And so the closest dinosaur that we think could have made these tracks is called a Dilophosaurus or something like that. And you'll see the statue kind of behind me. That dinosaur was actually not even found in Connecticut, but the skeleton was found in Arizona.
Wow.
And one of the reasons that we think it did make the tracks is because it's about the same size and it was around during about the same age, around 200 million years ago. So that's the closest dinosaur that we suspect made these tracks.
But do you know, were they here for a day? Were they here visiting? Were they here mating? I mean, how do you even know what they were doing right here in the spot?
They could have been mating, like you said. They could have been fishing or hunting. We don't know if they ate, what sort of food they ate, so they could have been eating fish. We think that there was maybe a shallow lake here 200 million years ago. They could have been migrating. We just really don't know why these tracks were made. Wow. And we do know that they were not made over a period of hundreds of years. It could have been a day that these tracks were made. Typically with any types of fossils, whether they're bones or they're trace fossils such as these tracks, there needs to be certain environmental conditions in order for them to be preserved. So what we think could have happened is that after the dinosaurs walked through, there was possibly some quick flood or some influx of some sediment that immediately covered the tracks and thereby preserving them. And then through time and other layers being applied on top, they hardened into the sedimentary rock.
And so they could be anywhere?
Yeah, exactly. They could be anywhere. In fact, these were 12 feet below the surface.
So if they had not been excavating that day, might you never have found these?
We never would have been able to find them. And by the way, there's about 500 here, tracks that are on display. There's about 1,500 that are actually still buried outside. And so we have over 2,000 tracks on site here that have been identified.
Unbelievable. And you also have other fossils here.
We have a lot of other fossils in the exhibit area, and most of them actually are from Connecticut.
Now, the dinosaurs, they obviously were not good pets, right? This is a pet show, we have to mention that.
Well, that's interesting because in the past we thought that dinosaurs were completely extinct. But new research is showing that they actually have very similar body structures, behavioral patterns, and skin coverings, body coverings, as modern-day birds.
Wow.
So now we can consider birds just as modern or different sorts of dinosaurs. So if you have a pet bird, or if you have chickens or turkeys, then you kind of have them as pets.
What did they range from? You know, like what would maybe be the smaller one to like the larger one?
Well, the smaller ones maybe were about chicken size or a little bit smaller.
Like a wild turkey?
Yeah, something around that size. And the larger ones did not exist during this time period because this was earlier on when dinosaurs were on the earth. but the larger ones existed a little bit later, and they could span 50 feet or longer. So they ranged in size from small to large, and there were two basic families of dinosaurs, the theropod, which are 2 legs, and then the sauropods, which were 4 legs.
Oh, this is just absolutely amazing. I mean, these tracks are unreal, and they're preserved in this wonderful building and very easy to see, as well as a lot of your artifacts, and you have programs all the time here. You have a lovely bookstore, I noticed.
That's right, yes. And so the bookstore is run by the Friends of Dinosaur Park and Arboretum, and we have real fossils in there. They're very particular about the fossils that they stock. We have clothing, jewelry, and toys and things like that in there.
I love the toys. They're so cute. This is such a wonderful facility. Outside, it's absolutely beautiful. You really have to come. You can just come walk, but why wouldn't you come in here? Because it is amazing, the things you'll see. We could only like really touch on them.
Yeah, we do have a lot of things to look at and for visitors to experience here.
And just to think that where we're sitting right here, there could have been a big fat dinosaur sitting or standing or maybe flying over us.
Yeah.
Unreal. Thank you so much, Michael, for having us. If folks out there want to get in touch with you, want to come visit, how do they do that?
Just Google or web search for Dinosaur State Park in Connecticut, and you can get the information. We're open Tuesdays through Sunday, 9 to 4:30, and there is an admission fee for the exhibit center, but the outside area where we have the trails and the 60 acres, picnic areas, that is free of charge.
Thank you so much, Michael,
Well, thank
for
you for
hosting
coming.
us.
Thank you.
And we want to remind everybody that you can find us, not with the dinosaurs, on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and of course watch us every Sunday morning right here on MyTV9 Connecticut, home of the dinosaurs. We're on at 11 a.m. So thanks for joining us. This has been Lauren's Crazy Pet Show.